G'day, Warwick, Powell here from Smart Trade Networks, coming to you from Brisbane, Australia. It's the afternoon of Tuesday, the 13th of July, 2021. Over the past month or two, we've seen some fairly significant disruptions to supply chains in terms of the flow of goods. And this has been particularly clear in the case of the disruptions to the North American East Coast gas pipeline, the global meat supply chain, where one of the world's largest meat supply systems was disrupted for about a week across 3 continents. And more recently, we've seen reports of, I think, around 800 retail stores from the Swedish group Co-op, which were forced to suspend their operations because of problems arising from cybersecurity attacks. Now, all of these incursions and attacks really demonstrate the vulnerabilities that exist now in traditional centralized information systems. Over the same period, we've also seen the collapse of one of the world's largest supply chain finance organizations in the form of Greensill Capital. Now, the dust hasn't yet settled on the Greensill case, but it's becoming increasingly clear that one of the reasons that the group ultimately collapsed is that its entire financial model and lending model was premised on opaque information systems where bundles of debt and bundles of collateral and security, together with projections around future receivables, were ultimately not very clear and not sufficiently transparent to enable investors and insurers to get a clear handle on exactly what the state of affairs was. Now, in the case of all of these, the common thread is the absence of information transparency and information integrity to the satisfaction of all key stakeholders. At Smart Trade Networks, we've been working on technologies through both R&D driven design with the support of Queensland University of Technology researchers and collaborators at the Future Food Systems CRC here in Australia, as well as actual development and testing of tools on blockchains that go to the heart of these challenges in supply chains. And I just wanted to mention to you about a couple of the technical primitives that we're about to launch in the next month or so that I think will really go to the heart of transforming the ways in which supply chain actors think about integrity in terms of information systems and the integrity and reputations of their collaborators and other actors in the supply chains. And on the back of that, we've got some incredibly exciting projects that we're going to launch utilizing our blockchain infrastructure to support really diverse applications in supply chain and business community transactions environments. So the key tools that I'm talking about, on the one hand, is the multi-sig, the organic multi-sig capability, which enables groups of people and organizations to come together and utilize the transparency of a multi-sig to collectively manage and govern the use of resources that multi-sig is in control of. Now, that multi-sig in essence starts to tackle the problems of information asymmetry and also the risks of capricious information modification, if you will, that leads to a lack of confidence in the integrity of these information systems. The transparency that's delivered through something like the multi-sig also starts to deal with concerns around information opacity, which underpins the prevalence of risk calculus in these supply chains and ultimately leads to the disruption of the flow of activities, whether it's goods or services, and also the flow of finance. The other important technical primitive that we've been fine-tuning is the multi-sig wrapped escrow wallet, which supports transaction making and conclusion in a deal room setting so that buyers and sellers can undertake business transactions separated by time and place, knowing that should their respective conditions be satisfied, then the transaction or the exchange of the digital instruments will be executed atomically and without dependence on a third-party intermediary. Now, both of these tools, the escrow wallet on the one hand and the multi-sig, really go to the heart of creating the foundations for transparent, multi-party information systems that we can all depend upon.